Never really thought that a video about Tamworth would get 30,000 views in one day. All of a sudden people are making news articles on it, I've been on the radio, the paper, and that's all because of one video. Now, since hundreds of people have been messaging me for a part 2, I've spent the last few weeks speaking to local charities, key workers and communities to see what they're doing during quarantine. Most messaged me directly to come talk to them. However, my first encounter came to me by viewing a story in the local paper. A story about a local DJ that has put together a local street party every Saturday to keep spirits up during lockdown. Now, I couldn't really get a feel for this in the paper, so I needed to see this for myself. So the next day I jumped into my car and made my way there. As soon as I started to walk down the street, the first thing I noticed was the sense of community. Nearly everyone was outside their house, all socially distanced from one another while still maintaining high spirits during lockdown. People were talking, dancing, even playing bingo for prizes. And that really made me think about the theme for this video. It couldn't just be a general overview of Tamworth in lockdown. It needed to be about the community, what people are doing. So with that in mind, I went back to Polesworth to see what the local food hub were doing.
So Dan, this is our volunteer group of Polesworth. We came together for the COVID-19 situation, and about 65 volunteers in total now covering Polesworth and Birchmoor. As well as what you see here today in the food hub, we're supporting all of the streets of Polesworth. Volunteers have accepted to be responsible for a street, to collect medicines, even walk dogs for some of those residents, particularly either shielding or vulnerable. Since we created the group, we've set up mothers and babies. So those mothers that are particularly nervous about going to big supermarkets, they can stay here in the village or get deliveries, particularly where they're either pregnant or just given birth to a young baby. And more recently, we've got a Meals on Wheels service, again for those that are shielding or vulnerable, where they can have at least one freshly cooked meal from the group each week. And then here in the food hub, as you can see, our volunteers preparing advanced orders. So over 50 orders a week are prepared on a Saturday to be delivered to residents that the volunteers are looking after. And all the food is fresh. We're sourcing it and being donated it from volunteers, contacts, local businesses, small and large, and with the help of Morrison's as well. We've been buying it, and so far we've fed over 2,700 people from this food hub here in Polesworth. So the whole philosophy of this volunteer group is to help residents to come and to take what they need so they can keep their families well fed throughout this difficult situation, and just to donate what they can. And we know that this situation not only will go on for a long time, but this community spirit that has come together, we hope will continue for a very long time in Polesworth. It really is, you see, the group's a happy group, winning group, and we hope that was really going to bring the village together in the coming months as we head towards what's hopefully going to be a much better and happier Christmas.
A lot has changed recently. All over the news now we're seeing cities, parks and beaches all filled with hundreds of people. So I went to Lichfield, which is the closest city near me, to see if this was the case everywhere. And to no surprise, there was lots of people. However, nearly everyone was practicing social distancing, so it wasn't as bad as I initially predicted. The people who I mostly saw were of a younger or middle age, and that got me thinking again about the older generation and the people who look after them. Which led me to speaking to a carer named Ellie who works at a home in the Tamworth area.
So I work with a team of lovely ladies and a couple of men, and we basically devote ourselves to the residents. We're allocated to look after a certain group per day, and we do everything from cleaning, washing, holding hands, giving food, cups of tea, medical side of it. We've got sisters on hand. We are really a big team just ensuring welfare. It's so unsafe to have people who are slightly unwell to work, so we do have problems with people not being able to come in and not having enough staff. So people like me and a lot of others have been picking up more shifts than we would usually. I think for us it was quite scary when this first was announced, because as carers we have such physical personal care. We have to lift people, we have to roll people, and between employees we're constantly, social distancing cannot exist within a care home. We are so at risk because we are so close to them, but in order to do our jobs we have to be. And so at first we were terrified because it's a strange concept known it's a droplet spread infection, and we are so close and so at risk. And before the PPE was properly installed and the whole nation had a worldwide shortage, it was terrifying. But our facilities and our staff have been brilliant. We've had training on infection control. We wear the gloves, the aprons, the masks, the lot. We have the entire PPE. And although at first it was scary, I'm so glad now where we stand, because it's so much more solidified and we are so much safer. But the sense of community is profound. I know for a fact where I live, our entire road, I live on a junction, and the entire road comes out with foghorns and air horns, someone plays music from the car, and we all come out and clap on a Thursday, and it brings me to tears. I don't cry very often, but it really does make me well up, and it's so lovely. You don't get that sense of community in 2020, or in the last 10 years, because everyone's very self-involved, you live in your own life, and no one supports each other anymore. But now we're all in the same boat, and that boat was sinking. It forces us to become stronger. We become a unit. To see everyone band together and to see how much we can actually appreciate people for what they're doing. So now you see a nurse, you see a fireman, you see a shopkeeper, you see a builder, you see any key worker, you see anyone doing a bit, and it's a strong feeling of just appreciation, and I think it's something that should have happened a long time ago. People should have acknowledged everything that everyone does to contribute to the community. I spend my entire day-to-day life worrying, have I caught this, have I got this, am I asymptomatic? And I don't want to bring it back to my residents. And we have to be so careful of that, but I'm so proud to be part of a community that values that and understands that and really is just brought together to protect everybody.
With everything that's happening in the world right now, it's easy to get lost on social media with everyone's opinions. But things are changing. So as the restrictions start to fall, remember to stay safe and support your local community so that we can beat this virus together.
All I needed was the love you